Do you love Batman?
Do you love Frasier?
Do you love Seinfeld?
Do you love Dr. Seuss?
Do you love James Bond?
Do you love Captain America?
Oh hell, do you just love everything that's nerd related?
I know I do.
Well, you should come on over to a Nerd's World podcast and listen to us, Justin and Andrew, talk everything that's nerd.
Yeah, every 2 weeks we delve into some random topic that we choose at the end of each episode, and we tell you the whole history of it, or as much as we feel the need to write down, our history of it, and our favorite things about it.
So come on over to a Nerd's World,
wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome everyone to Pod Gore, your one-stop shop for everything horror. Now here's your hosts, Justin and Brandon. Take it away, boys.
Hello and welcome to Pod Gore. I am your host, Brandon.
I am your other host, Justin.
And welcome to our Alien episode.
That is why we are talking like robots.
I know, I was like, I still don't have my how I'm going to start out voice yet. And so I'm like, welcome.
It takes time.
Yeah, I'm like,
There's
welcome to Alien. And so, yeah.
Would you like to play a game?
Mother. Yeah, because that's not weird when your AI is called Mother, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's strange.
Oh,
it took me a couple, because I've seen this a few times, but I forgot that the ship was Mother.
I forgot that too.
And then when they said it, I was like, wait, what?
Huh?
And then they said it again. I was like, oh,
right.
okay.
And,
that's a choice you make.
And kind of. Actually, I'll save this point till when we actually come to it. But yeah, there's a few things that happen in this movie that I was like, okay, I got you. And I do not plan on shitting on this movie at all because I love the movie.
Yeah.
But no, spoiler alert, when you find out that Ash is not who Ash really is,
yeah,
like that almost becomes an alien trope in future movies, like what they did with Prometheus and all that kind of stuff.
And
I'm like, I've seen
that too.
I did too, and I'm like, I've seen this before. I'm like,
yeah.
So basically, did they just do Prometheus and be like, okay, this is now the plot of Alien, but it's gonna be
not
a
as
prequel? Good. Yeah, but not as good.
Even though I like Prometheus,
I didn't mind them. Like for what
it's good enough
for what they are, they're all right.
Yeah.
But to jump into the history of the movie, so I saw conflicting reports. Like the first place I looked, it said that it was released on June 22nd, and so I had that written down in my notes. And then everywhere else I saw after that said May 25th, and I'm like, you guys almost made me look stupid here. And so yes, Alien was released on May 25th, 1979, and it was directed by Ridley Scott, who was known for Legend, Gladiator, and The Martian. It was written by Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett. I'm going to say it like that.
That sounds good.
So, yeah, O'Bannon did the story and screenplay, and then Shusett also helped with the story, but O'Bannon did the screenplay for it. But the funny thing is Dan O'Bannon is also known for, he did Aliens, but he did Dark Star and Total Recall.
Oh, wow.
Where Ronald Shusett also did Aliens and Total Recall, as well as the Total Recall remake. So, but he also had like his hand in a lot of extra Alien content. We're talking shorts, video games, all sorts of extra, like that he was a part of. And one of the funny things that I noticed is that there's a lot of Total Recall connections. Like the people who worked on Aliens also did Total Recall and all that kind of stuff. And I thought that was kind of cool.
That is interesting.
The movie stars Tom Skerritt, Sigourney Weaver, Veronica Cartwright, Harry Dean Stanton, John Hurt, Yaphet Kotto, and Balaji Bhotto is how I'm going to say that.
Sure.
Who was actually a graphic artist, and he played the alien, who was discovered in a bar by a member of the film crew who felt that he would be ideal to play the title character, as director Ridley Scott wanted to create a monster that looked as if no human could be behind the mask. It was to be a long
So
and
it's goofy looking.
well, the only time he really looked goofy was at the end. And we'll talk about that.
I was surprised at how many people are in this movie, and I didn't recognize them.
Really?
Like, I knew the one guy that's in Avengers, obviously.
Oh, Hurt? John Hurt?
No, it's not John Hurt. That's, what's his name? When Banner falls out of the sky,
Mm-hmm.
and the janitor guy in that abandoned warehouse that gives him the pants.
Mm-hmm.
That guy.
Oh, okay, but I don't remember who that was.
Yeah,
So
he was one of the mechanics.
Oh, was it the
The white guy.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say there's only two, and I don't know which one was which, but I know who you're talking about now. He was like, I've just pulled a Justin.
No, you pulled a you. Last week I pulled a you.
No, I bumped the cord this time and not the arm. But it was said that Ridley Scott wanted to create the monsters if nobody was in there wearing a mask. It was to be long and angular, with an impossible frame that few people would be able to fill. Even though he had no training or an experience as an actor, Badejo's thin 6'10" body made him ideal for the part. Stilts. That's tall as hell. And that was the first and only thing he's done in a movie.
Really?
Yeah, like if you look at his IMDb, there's one credit, and
he is Alien.
Yeah, Alien.
That's it.
Hey, that's not a bad thing to come in and go out on.
Yeah,
you know
no
what
kidding.
I mean. And so
leave him wanting more.
Yeah, and actually, this is kind of where this is the other Total Recall connection. So, Jerry Goldsmith did the music for the film, known for doing Star Trek: First Contact, Total Recall, and Congo. Congo. Sidebar, I fucking love that movie so much. I love that movie so much.
You're going to have to do a special Congo podcast.
Oh, we just might. I mean...
Congo cast?
Congo cast? Oh, dude. Nobody take that.
Started here.
Yep.
That's the copyright.
Right?
Here.
Trademarked. It was filmed in England, UK, from July 5th to October 2nd in 1978. On an estimated budget of $11 million. That's a lot of money for 1979. Yeah. Opening weekend, it made $3,528,000. It was a limited release, and then the wide opening weekend did that amount in. That stupid fucking website.
Yeah, blame the website for your shitty notes.
I will, because it basically said the same thing with two different titles. Oh. But it made 3.5 but it was released in 757 theaters. But for its gross USA, it made almost 79 million with domestic, and then see, because it said gross USA was 78.95 million, and domestic was 80.9. So that literally, you can look, I copy and pasted. And so, but its cumulative worldwide gross was 203.63 million, which is a lot of monies.
I'll take one.
Right? That's a lot of money. And so, I mean, it might not have started out as strong, but it definitely hit that status.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's one of those classic, not just horror movies, but movies.
Right.
Like, it's on every top movie list ever.
Right. And I have this down in my fun fact section here, but it is ranked 7 in all-time sci-fi horror, which I figured might be a little bit higher, but then again...
So how much sci-fi horror is there?
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. But so it's 7 in sci-fi horror, and it's ranked 27th in R-rated horror, and that's all R-rated horror, which is crazy. And Sigourney Weaver, Ripley, is ranked 25th as action heroine, which
not too shabby.
I mean, I think
Thought it'd be a little higher, but
I thought you would think so too, given the fact that it's Ripley.
yeah, she's
I mean,
one
there's
of the
not.
first.
Yeah, you have Ripley, then you have Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2.
Yeah,
Like she was a badass in that movie. Like I'm trying to think of what other ones would be ranked higher. I mean, unless they're counting stuff that's like more recent, like
I was gonna say, if it's all time, I mean, there's Laurie Strode, there's Sydney, there's
right.
Nancy.
But that's just action heroine. That's not even limited to horror in
Mm-hmm.
general. I'll look up the list later, but so the title of the movie is slowly created one line at a time at the top of the screen during the opening credits, starting out with the I, then the / and A, and then I've copied and pasted this and I'm regretting it now, and then the / and the N, and then the vertical lines in the L and the E, so it looks like stupid. Okay. After that ensuing, I thought when I copy and pasted it, I thought it was a little more like
relevant, poignant.
Well, no, I thought it was explaining how they did it,
Oh,
and I didn't realize it was just a description of the fucking credit.
yeah, which we were gonna do that anyway.
Right, but it's after that ensuing lines of each letter are added slowly one at a time until it's visible, which is super cool.
Well, yeah,
but I
mean,
didn't need to just go through that, so
No,
I
you really
apologize.
didn't.
Well,
'Cause
like
we were
I
gonna
said,
do that when we got into the movie.
well, no, but yeah, like that's what I get for copy and pasting notes and then looking and being like, and not reading the entire paragraph, thinking that I was like, oh, that's a cool fact.
I agree to the thing you just said.
Whatever.
Next,
Yeah. The tagline for this movie is one of my favorite all-time taglines. Yeah. Do you know it?
in space, no one can hear you scream.
Exactly. You didn't say it as good as I would have, but not
Sure.
bad. Right.
Right.
It actually it's an Academy Award nominated for art direction and visual effects, which it actually has an Academy Award in effects. Like it did win that. And so that's not bad for sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
Having an Academy Award. Well, 2 noms and a win.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
Well, I mean, this is one of those movies that had transcended the genre. I mean, when you suggested Alien, I went, oh, yeah, that's a horror movie. Mm-hmm. Like, I own all of them.
Yeah, right, so do I.
And it's not on, we made a list. I made a list. I don't know if you did. Of all of my horror movies. I don't know if you
make lists
made
for everything, though. That's your thing, though.
I have a sickness. But the Alien movies are not on that list because I didn't even think, oh yeah, that's a horror movie.
Well, it's the same thing like Predator.
Yeah, I wouldn't put that on there either.
I don't think Predator is scary like Alien is.
No, not at all.
But they're in that universe, so.
Yeah.
The one thing that kind of caught me off guard I wasn't expecting is that Harrison Ford turned down the role to be Captain Dallas, which
I'm glad.
I am too, because like while I'm watching this movie, knowing that fact, I'm watching Scarrett do his thing, and I'm like, he's a great actor, so it's like, it's not missed, and like it's not a missed opportunity, but like I'm watching it, and I'm like, I can't really picture Harrison Ford. Like, I mean, he could do it,
Sure.
but like, I'm really glad that he did turn it down because,
Yeah.
like, Scarrett crushed it. And then, I mean, there are times where you'll listen to Scarrett talk, and it's like almost Han Solo-ish, but like I could see it. But
Well, it's like I was saying before. There's so many people in this movie that I didn't realize that's who they were. Like the name Scarrett sounded familiar, but I didn't put a picture to the name.
right.
And then I looked him up, and I went, "Oh shit, it's that guy."
That's
I've
how
seen that guy
that's
in
how I was
everything.
with Michael Ironside for the longest time.
Yeah.
I was like, he's been in what? I'm like, oh, what? Okay.
Oh, he's that guy who's in literally every movie ever made. I get it now.
Yeah. The giant space jockey from Alien and later Prometheus was burned down by a stray cigarette. Isn't that fucked? You're like, that's such
There's
a...
your anti-smoking campaign.
Right there. You don't want to burn down the giant space jockey, so come on now. And see, the funny thing was, too, is like, it had been so long since I had seen Alien before watching Prometheus that I'm watching this movie, and like, when you see like the weird horseshoe-shaped looking ship, and then, you know, the giant space jockey in the beginning, like all these things that you see in Prometheus. I'm like, I don't I'm like what? I'm like, are they adding shit to like? Are they like retconning stuff in now? Like,
No.
And then you go back and watch it. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool, but like, it really kind of fucked with me because like seeing the giant space jockeys. I'm like, really? I'm like, that was an alien? I'm like, how long has it been since I've seen it?
Too long.
Apparently. In H.R. Giger's original illustration that inspired the look of the alien, the creature had eyes. For the movie, Giger insisted that creatures have no eyes, thus giving the bleak appearance of a cold and emotionless beast that hunts by smell.
Good call.
Do you know anything about H.R. Giger?
No. The name sounds vaguely familiar. I think it might be Geiger.
No, it's spelled Geiger, but like when you look it up, it's like
got the funny
it's
things with it.
well, yeah, it said that it's pronounced Giger.
Oh, okay.
I always said Geiger until I
learned wrong.
Until I learned wrong, until I looked it up. But so I don't know if it's still on Amazon or something, but I should look. There was a documentary about him called Dark Star, where it went into like deep dive on like him before he passed, like his like hermit house and like all the artistry stuff that he's done there and shit like outside. Like his, you look confused.
No, well, I always kind of look like that. It's ringing a distant bell. Mm-hmm. That's a Spectre reference. But it's still like the connectors aren't quite connecting. Like there's a little spark, but it's not quite turning on the light switch.
But yeah, so looking it up, the way that it tells you, because his name is Hans Rudy, was what the HR stands for.
Name.
What, Hans?
Hans Rudy.
You like that name?
It's not too bad. It's better than my name.
But the way that they show it pronounced is GHEE-GER. And I'm like, I would still rather say Geiger because it just flows easier than saying Giger. But so yeah, dude, his artwork is insane. Like the whole bio mech look and shit. Like I was looking through a lot of his arts and I'm like, God, that would be really cool to tattoo on your body. But a lot of his work is like very sexual in nature, and which actually it's one of the notes I have. We'll get to that later. But like even when I was watching some of the things where it's like they're talking about how things are being designed and they're walking into a side of the ship and I'm like, that could almost look like it'd be a vagine. You know what I mean? Just like the way that it's shaped. And I'm like, it's fucking Giger, dude. The original cut of the movie was 3 hours and 12 minutes long.
I believe that.
I want to know what fucking hour and 12 worth of movie they cut out to put it down to 2 hours.
A lot of walking in space.
Because we decided to go over the director's cut. Mm-hmm. Which is actually like a minute or two shorter than...
Which I was surprised. I was thinking I picked the longer version.
Let me find where that is in my notes so that way I don't get back to it. But it's not in my notes. But yeah, I think it's like a minute or two shorter and there's like very subtle changes. But then... Cause see, I own them on disc and I own them on digital.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah, I want them to know too. So I couldn't find it anywhere. Yeah. I was like, okay, so maybe I'll try to find a place to rent it. I had to rent it off my PlayStation to watch it because I'm like, I told Justin we're doing the director's cut, so we're gonna do that. But then when we get together, I'm like, well, shit, man. He was like, well, it'd been nice to know what the difference would have been, and I'm like, well, if I would have thought about it then, I would have been like, you know what, I'll watch the original and then you watch the director's cut and then we'll compare. But hindsight's a bitch.
Yeah.
So the Xenomorph only has 4 minutes of screen time and doesn't make its first appearance until about an hour into the movie, which is halfway. And the thing that I like about that is it's like it really is with that thing less is more, because it's like part of the thing that's so scary about it is like you don't really ever
get a good look at it.
Yeah, until later. Yeah. And then when you do, you're like, I wish I didn't see that.
Yeah.
My only gripe about that movie is, and we'll get to it later, This one, I'm so glad they did not go with it, though. Do you know what the original name of the movie was supposed to be before Alien? It was originally supposed to be called Star Beast.
Oh, that's cool.
Are you kidding me?
That's a billion-dollar franchise if I ever heard one.
Star Beast 2. Star Beast Resurrection.
Star Beast here. Electric Boogaloo.
But O'Bannon was really never happy with the title.
I would hope not.
Good for you, dude. Yeah.
No, neither is anyone else in the world.
Okay, so my next note was what were the rankings of it, but I actually wrote down what the rankings were. And so the movies that are ahead of it are I Am Legend is ranked number 1 in sci-fi horror.
Really?
2 is War of the Worlds.
The original?
The original War of the Worlds? I think the Tom Cruise one.
I'm asking you.
Yeah, I'm asking you because you're like, the original? I'm like, what are you talking about? Original what?
Isn't there an original War of the Worlds movie?
I don't know if there might be. I know that it was like on the radio.
Well, yeah.
Signs, A Quiet Place.
What is this list? Like best or highest grossing or what?
It was like it's sci-fi movie rankings.
I disagree strongly with this list.
I can't. Why would you, dude?
I'm not blaming you. I don't
I know
agree
you better
with
not
it.
be. I'm
I
trying
mean,
to
a little,
remember
but-
where exactly I saw it because I don't think it was. No, it wasn't Ranker because Ranker has Aliens as number 1.
Yeah.
Is it IMDb? It might be because I remember.
Maybe it is the only movie of that.
So, no, it's not the Collider list. I want to say that I saw it on the same thing that I saw, like the highest grossing. What's that movie box op movie Mojo?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. Are you having any luck finding it? Because I know that you're like.
I'm not looking for your list I disagree with, but there have been several War of the Worlds movies.
Oh, really? How
the
many?
first of which came in 1953.
Okay. Who was in it? I know it's off topic, but I'm also stalling because.
Gene Barry. Yeah. Directed by Byron Haskin, whoever the
Okay,
hell
so
that
I
is.
found it.
Good.
So. And this is box office.
Okay.
And it might not
That
necessarily.
makes more sense because if it's quality, no.
I Am Legend was 1. War of the Worlds. And I'm going to make sure it's the.
I don't mind the Tom Cruise one. I think it's a fine movie, but
Yeah. And I guess I should have said box office because that's where I did get that. But.
okay.
And
makes
this is
much more
definitely
sense.
not, and this is like, this list is like, it is the list, but it's also not based on movie quality because it goes, I Am Legend, War of the Worlds, Signs, A Quiet Place, Prometheus, Aliens, and Alien. So, technically the top 3 box office, well, not top 3, but, in the top 10, there's 3 Aliens.
Yeah. That's impressive.
Well, actually, I take that back. So, well, no, because I said top 3, and that's just not right. So, Prometheus is the 5th grossing.
Mm-hmm.
Aliens is the 6th grossing. Alien is 7th. Alien versus Predator is 8.
Wow.
Alien Covenant is 9. And then Alien 3 is 13. Alien Resurrection is 16. And then Alien vs. Predator 2 is 18.
So they're
all
in the
that
top
in the
20.
top 20. Yeah.
That's impressive.
That's what and that's like I said, I should have prefaced the the box office because I'm like
Yes.
I Am Legend. You're like, that is not better than Alien.
It's not.
I say start to see like a vein in your forehead starting to bulge.
I
And
don't
it's
even like. I'm not that adamant about Alien. Aside from just watching it, I've never been a huge Alien buff.
Right.
But yeah, you started off your list and all the things that are before Alien. And that doesn't seem.
You're like,
right.
no. It's like A Quiet Place is up there above
Well,
Alien.
and
I know that's a great movie.
That I would. I'll throw that in there. Fine, but Signs.
Come on, what's your problem with the Shams, dude?
We'll save that for another episode.
Oh.
We got a lot of movie to talk
No,
about.
that's funny. Well, my wife loves the Shyamalan movies.
That's nice.
That's nice. Say something mean.
Airbender.
Airbender. Hey, that's not. I guess that is a horror movie. Never mind. Yeah, don't get me wrong, dude. Because
Not intentionally.
no, I went and saw that in theaters,
I did
and I was
too.
pissed.
I was too.
I was.
I never even watched the cartoon, and I was pissed.
I love the cartoon. Like like it wasn't that long after I got done watching like all 3 seasons of it, and I'm like,
Tifa.
yes. And then I get there, and then I'm like,
No.
the fuck, dude. Like, I'm like, why are you changing the pronunciations of the names from the show? Like in the show is Aang, and in the movie they're calling him Ong. And I'm like, just weird little shit like that. I'm like, I want to start punching glass. I was not happy about that at all.
We won't even talk about the actual movie Glass.
I was disappointed. I mean, with
I didn't watch it.
as good as Split was,
Yeah.
Glass did not.
That's
But then again, I also watched it on a red eye back from Hawaii, so
That doesn't help.
no, it didn't help at all.
Back to Alien.
Yeah, you fucking dick. So 20th Century Fox doubled the budget from 4.2 million to 8.4 on the strength of seeing Ridley Scott's storyboards. So they're like, here, you got 4.2. But then they saw it and they're like, oh, well, shit, we'll give you 8.4. And it's like, well,
It's twice as good.
yeah, right. Like just being like, that's how you know.
I could see it though.
Yeah.
And
Like-
we'll get to it whenever we actually start talking about the movie.
Yeah,
But-
there's not that much more stuff to go. Like, just
I'm just busting your chops.
I know you are, you piece of shit.
I don't have anything else to say during this part, so
I know.
I gotta chime in when I can.
So the front face part of the alien's costume, I copy and pasted all these, so
You should stop doing that.
shut your mouth. The face part of the alien's costume head is made from a cast of a real human skull. Gnarly as hell. The blue laser lights that were used in the alien ship's egg chamber
Yeah.
in the opening of Alien were borrowed from The Who. The band was testing out lasers for their stage show on the soundstage next door.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
And so, thank you, The Who, for
Contributing
yeah.
to movie history.
So, in the scene with the chest burster, Veronica Cartwright, who played Lambert, screams when blood splatters on her, and her scream was genuine. The cast did not expect there to be that much blood, and didn't know which way the blood was going to splatter, and so like everything that happened in that scene was like not expected to happen the way that it did. And
That kind of shit's cool.
it is, because it's also now considered to be the second scariest movie moment of all time on the 100 scariest movie moments of 2004. As of 2004, yeah. And this is gonna be a fucking funny fact here, dude. And I was curious to see how you were gonna react to it, because you get weird about shit.
Gearing up.
But you want to know what inspired the chest burst? Like what?
I do, Brandon. I do.
Okay, you fucking wide-eyed bastard, like staring at me all crazy. So the chest burster was inspired by O'Bannon's Crohn's disease.
Huh.
He likened his digestion process to something bubbling inside, struggling to get out. In quotes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I
So
like that.
yeah. So I mean, just think of like here we do whatever we do throughout the day, and this guy is like taking an issue with his body and turning it
Indigestion, turning it
into a fucking franchise.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh man, I really got a numero dos. And then all of a sudden being like, that'd be a really cool scene in a movie to watch something.
What if a deuce came out of your chest, but it was an alien?
You thought through
Well,
me.
I can't unsee that.
No. Alien was half inspired by a deuce. He was, so H.R. Giger was part of the special effects team that won an Academy Award for Best Achievement in Visual Effects for their design work on the film Alien. His design for the alien was inspired by his painting Necronom 4, and he earned him an Oscar in 1980. And so, like, when we talk about a picture like this right here, the Necronom 4 is an actual art piece. Mm-hmm. When this episode drops, we'll be dropping episode photos with it. So make sure that you are following us on social medias, which will tell you where to find us at the end. Mm-hmm. But we'll have companion pictures. So you're like, I wonder what that looks like. Just find us.
Brandon's got you covered.
Yeah, I got you covered. It was. It's safe to say that this, without the success of Star Wars 2 years earlier, it helped get Alien made.
Oh yeah.
And we'll talk about it in the notes, but like the way, like with the ship action out, like just by itself, I'm like,
that's very Star
Warsy. Yeah.
I kind of thought that when I was watching it, but I didn't. I was just impressed by it. I didn't really like rag on it for it.
Right. So the spacesuits that they wore in that movie were incredibly hot, and people might already know this because I know that Adam Savage did a cosplay of that for a Comic-Con where he had built a suit and wore it. And I guess it was just so incredibly hot that cast members would regularly pass out from the heat. I said cast members, but when I saw somewhere else, they were saying that some kids or something put it on and like they'd passed out from the, like, just how hot it was inside. But yeah, those big ass suits were no joke, man.
I wouldn't think so. It's like a firefighter suit.
Right, yeah. And I think, if I remember right, when they showed that on Mythbusters, didn't he try to install like some sort of,
I don't know,
cooling device inside? I don't know. So the idea for the movie is, after a space merchant vessel perceives an unknown transmission as a distress call, its landing on the source moon finds one of the crew attacked by a mysterious life form, and they soon realize that its life cycle has merely begun. And so that's the point of the movie. Mm-hmm. But now we can dive into the movie.
Now I can get to my notes.
Yeah, go ahead and start us off, man.
Well, since you haven't talked about it, let's talk about that slow-mo reveal of the alien logo.
Oh, since I didn't bring it up, go ahead and let me know. That's why it's not in my notes.
It is fucking cool, and it's very alien. Like, it's one of those things that is strongly associated with this franchise.
Right.
And anyone else that tries to do that is accused of ripping off Alien because that's what they're doing.
Right. And see, the reason why when I was doing my notes for this, the reason why I had put that in there is because I thought that I had read in that paragraph that it was a practical effect of, like, I thought I saw paper cut, like they were doing it like with paper or something weird. And so that's why I included it, because I was skimming through 3 different tabs of trying to find different,
facts.
Yeah, things to talk about. And I could have swore I saw something along those lines. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. Click.
But you didn't.
Yeah, well.
Well, I was surprised at the music of this movie because I remember it being different.
Really?
Like, it seemed much more calm.
It is really calm. It's like eerily calm.
Yeah. And that works, obviously. But I was thinking it was much more disturbing and creepy than it was. But whatever.
Yeah. So the movie starts out with the ship, the freighter.
Nostromo.
The Nostromo.
I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Because I knew I'd forget.
Oh, really? I wrote it down later, but yeah, when they, in that very Star Warsy
corridor.
Yeah, well, no, just like when they're showing the ship fly down, like by, and I don't know if it was a 70s thing where they had all the, like the bottom of the ship just had a bunch of fucking spears underneath it, like
shit hanging off of it. And I liked that, but yeah, like I said, it piqued the Star Wars, button, because obviously that's a very Star Wars thing to do, but
right.
it definitely helps set a mood. And then when they enter the ship, I love that you essentially get a tour of the entire inside of the ship.
Yeah, that was
until
really
you get
cool.
to the cast. And I was also impressed with, I'm calling it dirty space, because it's like what Star Wars did and what Guardians of the Galaxy eventually did. It's space, but it's lived in space. It's not shiny, clean, everything's pristine future like a lot of movies used to do.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's, this has been used for years, and this is kind of dirty and gross, and I wouldn't touch that wall because,
Oh, right.
It helps it feel more real and lived in.
Yeah, it does. It's more relatable.
Yeah.
The thing that caught me the most was, I don't know if it was a 70s thing, like just of the time, but the detail on the outer part of the ship where there's just so much shit going on the side. Like, I mean, if you look at a space shuttle or other things that are out in space and that are real, they're like, obviously it's a movie, but like, you have like, I don't even know how to describe it, but there's just like so many parts on the outside of the ship, and it's like there's no just section of clean ship. There has to almost be some sort of tube or cylinders and like all sorts of shit to let you know that it's space. You know what I mean? Like,
but I mean, it makes it more obvious that it is a model and not some fake. I mean, obviously a model's fake.
A practical effect.
Yeah, it's a practical effect, and it's detailed, and it's not like, old school space where it was just a tube with a point on the end. Hey, there's your rocket. Like, it's, I don't know, it's like an organism almost, the way that they design these ships. Even when you look at Star Wars, they'll have those smooth plates on a Star Destroyer, but then there'll be that opening on the top where there's a bunch of wacky shit going on that must be something mechanical.
Right, but I mean, even when you just like look at a still shot of the ship,
looks like a pirate ship.
It does look like a pirate ship, but there's all the spherical under of the ship, but then there's just like pipes among pipes. It almost looks like it's just a ship. Like, where's like anything going on inside? Like some of these things where I'm like, God, that's just a bunch of spears or cylinders going up and down in every which direction. I mean, it's super cool, but it's definitely a product of that time, I think. Like the same thing with the way that the Star Destroyers look in Star Wars.
Yeah.
The only big ship that you can think of like would be the Death Star that doesn't have a lot of stuff going on because it's a big old circle,
all plated,
right? But except for the trench,
right?
Or whatever that runs along it. So I really wish I would have wrote down why, but that's what it was. It's kind of funny, like when you go back and watch something that's 40 years old and to see how the past interprets the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like living 40 years, a lot of things can change, but like to imagine what the future would be in 1979 and then, hindsight going back and being like, it kind of looks silly, but could you imagine not, being alive then being like, God, I bet that's exactly what it's going to look like in the future. You know what I mean?
Because that's the way my TV is now, and I bet they'll just take that TV and stick it in a spaceship.
Right? And it's just like, it's always interesting going back and seeing how they picture what it's like living, how we're living now.
Well, and it's so unfortunate that they are prohibited by their limited technology. Because now anything we can think of can be on screen. But at the time, everything was so practical and shit. And they had these computers that looked like at best 80s computers in the 70s.
Right.
And now you see what we can do, and it's, it's not green letters typing very slowly.
No, not at all. It's like the charm of a practical effect is like, I will take that over CG any
definitely.
day. I mean, that's an obvious thing to say, but like still, like the way CG is now, a lot of times it can be so good that it's hard to even tell that is not real.
Mm-hmm.
But like, give me the old school.
Well, I rationalize it in like something terrible happened.
Mm-hmm.
And while the technology is advanced enough to get us to space, it's limited to the point where they're having to sort of rivet together all this mishmash old shit to make the new stuff work. And it's like, I don't know.
No,
but it's cool looking at least.
It does. It looks really cool. What's your next thing you
got? Everyone wakes up because mother got a distress signal.
Yeah, the thing that I wrote down is before everybody wakes up is it's almost, I don't know why it was shot like that, because when they have all, like, everybody's still asleep, the ship is quiet, and then you just have these helmets placed. And then, like, when everything starts to boot up and come to life, it's all reflecting off of the helmets.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't remember that coming into effect later being like, foreshadowing something, but like, it's just, I don't know if it was science fiction-y, but it was like the way that everything reflected off onto the fronts of the mask.
Well, the way, because I skipped this part in my notes, but it was, I put, it's one of the most well-crafted horror movies there is, because a lot of them, especially when you get into the slasher genre, it's just a bunch of guys in a trench trying to get shit together to make a movie. This is artistry.
Bro, yeah.
This is like
filmmaking.
Yeah, it's an actual film.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they put some time and symbolism and imagery and
right.
It's each shot, especially when it's panning through the ship, is like a painting. I mean, you could pause it at any moment and that's a beautiful shot.
I agree with that. That's kind of like if you think of like with Kubrick and The Shining, like a lot of the way that's exactly like that, opposed to just like you said, your generic slasher.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some cool shots in a slasher,
right? But
Elm
they're
Street
not,
and him going through the wall and shit. But,
right, but it's not the same style of artistry. Like, I get that. Yeah. The funny thing was, though, is when everybody does wake up
in their underwear.
Yeah, I put space underwear, or just it's either
the whitest of tidy whities.
Oh god! But see, the funny thing is when the pods are opening and you see them laying there, it almost looks like they're just wrapped in gauze.
Yeah.
The way that they're so big and bulky, and then you kind of get like the bottom up shot, and then you can kind of see underneath part of it, and I'm like, those are space underwear. I'm like, or 70s. Like, I mean, I was born in the early 80s, so I wasn't of that time.
Sure.
But like, very odd looking underwears. And the funny thing, like you whenever somebody wakes up from hypersleep, it's like I wrote down, has to be waking up like who the fuck am I nap? You know what I mean? Like when you sleep so hard and you wake up and you're like, where am I? What time is it?
What day is this?
Yeah, who am I? What happened?
House? Is this my couch?
Yeah.
Is it your couch?
I don't remember falling asleep. But like just the thought of hypersleep, being asleep for that long, one, sounds awesome because I'm always tired.
Sure.
But two, like, God, could you imagine being asleep for X amount,
weeks, months,
years, however long it takes to get, like, you don't get extra time added to your life because you were asleep for those 2 years. Like, that's a chunk of your life gone for science, for your job. I would not give my job.
I better get paid a lot of fucking money.
Yes. Well, I mean, think about it. Like, I guess it's different now, but I mean, there's places that do those kind of studies. Like, here, we'll give you $30,000 or $15,000, but you can't get out of your bed for 30 days. And it's like,
Right.
while that sounds awesome, after day 3, you're like, I just want to stand up.
Yeah.
You know?
Can I pee in something that's not a cup? Thanks.
Right? Fucking get this catheter fucking bag out of here.
I was just waiting for you.
No,
thought you
I
had
know.
a thing
I
there.
just spat out at a couple. I didn't want to get too far ahead of where you might be in yours.
Well, no, I mean, they all get woken up by Mother because there's some signal, and so they have to take the ship to this. It was a moon. I thought it was a planet, but I wasn't sure. I think in your notes you said moon.
Yeah, I think it might be something like
And
that.
they have such a shitty rough landing that they're stuck there for a day.
God, right? Well, that's like, the next thing that I have, because I have a few things, like I guess I kind of went heavy on what I was writing down. But I said nothing says the future like a shit ton of blinking lights.
Well,
So
of
like
course.
when he goes into the
That
mother
room.
room and there's just blinking lights everywhere, I'm like, that's the future. You know,
That's
like
the future I want to live in.
right, because
Shiny room with blinky lights.
right, because then I mean you think about that, you know, everything that is done in that giant room could be done on something the size of a Pop-Tart, you know, even smaller.
I did all of that on my phone while you were trying to boot up to do that.
Right. And the like when he's sitting there and he's typing things out and the way that the prompts are coming up. I'm more of the gamer, so I don't know if you ever played Fallout.
No.
But the way that those consoles are, they remind me of Fallout because it's that exact same thing where, you know, you got the black screen and then the green lettering pops up and then you select one and then bring up the next thing and then like you go through the list of the, you know, but it's very much like the Fallout console in game that those reminded me of. But yeah, Mother was the name of the AI program of Nostromo, which I guess I could see it, but
Yeah.
it's still weird. You know, like,
I wouldn't want to keep saying Mother.
no, I mean, yeah, that.
Hey, Ma.
Hey,
Ma,
Ma,
give
the
me a soda.
meatloaf. God, what's she doing in there? You never know what she's doing in there.
Give me a fucking soda, Ma.
Ma,
Shit.
like that.
Piss off this stupid fucking planet, eh?
Hey, where are you? Where are you fucking? Like,
I went Minnesotan.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, for some reason I
Started out Jersey.
Yeah, I was
then
gonna say Jersey Canadian, but then I was like, it's more Minnesota. Like, yeah, I always revert to Minnesota for some reason. Like if I try to make fun of my Canadian friend, I always end up going. I'm like, listen here, little bud. I'm talking about this, and I'm like, he's like, that's not Canadian. I'm like, Minnesota's close to Canada. Fucking deal with it.
It's always easier to just go to Fargo.
Right, right. But see the when everything's booting up on the computers and they're sitting there doing their thing, like I don't know what it was like to use that kind of technology, obviously, of that time.
Sure.
But why are they so reflective? Like when they show Lambert sitting there doing the computer stuff, like half of her face is shining with computer stuff. Is that to let you know like she's working on the programs? Like, I mean, that shit
Could be.
is like almost like in school back in the day. I don't know what school's like now, but when we were in school, they had projectors where he would put the film thing down and it would show up on the wall.
Yeah.
But that's almost like how it shines on her face while she's working on stuff. And I'm like,
Well, it's old school lights, so they didn't really care about the whole radiation thing, I suppose. But and it could have just been style.
yeah.
You know,
I
this
mean,
whole
and it
movie
worked.
is very
it
stylistic.
Really, it worked well. It didn't look bad. It didn't make me be. It didn't take me out.
Yeah.
I always wondered. I'm like, reflective light from the computers were very prominent with it shining off the helmets or, you know, reflecting off her face. I'm like, it's not just like a one thing. Like it happens, you know.
Repeatedly.
Yeah, it was a repeated thing.
Didn't even notice.
Yeah, it happened more than once. So, I mean, generally, you'd think there would be a reason, and I'm not smart, so.
Fair enough. I'm so dumb that I didn't even notice it. So you're one up on me.
Yeah, sounds about right.
On this one.
Oh, okay.
Wait till next week.
Yeah, wait. Oh, yeah. Nice way to preface it there. Go ahead.
I lost my spot. I was hoping you were going to talk. So they're searching this moon planet. Because that's the smart thing to do. I like that they have to. Mm-hmm. That helps it not be so ludicrous and like, hey, we're just kind of searching because of this distress signal. No, they have to because their contract says if there's a chance that they could hit some sort of alien life, they have to investigate.
Right.
But any other reason, they're just stupid.
Yeah. So I think that I will. What I'm going to need you to do is, like, if I start talking about something that gets close to where you're at on your notes, give me a signal, because I got a few more things listed before we get to that point.
Oh, Jesus.
I told you, I went heavy.
I'll just sit here.
No,
and
don't do
talk.
that. Don't do
that.
Well,
I'm already on the moon.
I'm not there yet.
So you just
because
go
the thing
nuts
that I was
until you
talking
get
about
to the moon.
was like, well, we're going to. I was just, I put down how much I just loved the vision, like the practical effects of the movie. I mean, we've already talked about it a little bit, but there was obviously something that happened after that made me think about it again. And then you get to the janitor guys. I don't remember their names specific. Parker was one of them, and then I don't remember the other guy's name. But
I don't either.
The funny thing is about those two guys is, like, no matter what's going on, they really want their shares.
Yeah. It's really fucking irritating.
They're like, hey, I want a whole share. And like, no, you're the janitors. You get half a share.
Well, they're the mechanics, aren't they?
Mechanics, yeah.
Which is actually very important when
you
think
about it. It is very important, but they may have been mechanics.
Flight.
Well, obviously they're mechanics because Parker later on was working on shit. He's like, can you make some flamethrowers? Yeah. But they referred to him as janitorial, or they treated him like that.
Yeah.
But like,
it reminded me of the guys at the shop where I work. Like, they're just these surly, grouchy.
You're talking about Jerry.
They're funny. But do they do stuff? Do they just...
Oh, I hope that Jerry listens to this. That'd be great. I don't know. Is Curtis still doing it? Oh, God. I see Jerry all the time, but I don't see Curtis. That is a way to explain it. Yeah.
I love those guys. If you're
I
listening,
do too.
Yeah,
if you're listening, you guys are great. But I see, like I said, I see Jerry all the time. I haven't seen Curtis in a bit. And I don't know the other guy's name.
Well, I'm sure this is very fascinating to all of our listeners wanting to hear about Alien.
Yeah,
the guys we work with.
Yeah, our alien janitors. But yeah, they really want their shares, and so they do. They start to go out on the moon surface to go investigate. And the thing that I wrote down is not that it matters here, but always have the job that keeps you on the ship.
Yeah.
Like, be the science guy.
But be the science guy that's on the ship.
Yeah.
Telling the other science people what to look for.
Right, exactly. Like, be the Ash, or be the Ripley, or be somebody else, but don't be the guy that they're being like, hey, I'm delegating this to you. You need to go and investigate that ship. Mm-hmm. Like, and then think about how boring that is, dude. Like, you're just sitting there waiting, being like, we're just waiting for a check-in, and like... You don't have your phone to sit and look at while you're waiting for something.
There's no TV. You can't catch up on your Netflix
like
and chill.
Like when they show Dallas just before they call him later, he's just sitting there. He's sitting in the fucking captain's chair, just not doing a goddamn thing.
Not drinking a Slurpee. He's not eating a hot dog or anything. He's just fucking off.
But yeah, so like exploring the surface, they get out there walking around, like almost like. There's
steam
a lot of
is erupting all over the place for reasons.
So much steam in this goddamn movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
In the ship, out of the ship, everywhere.
I don't know if that's a thing to let you know they're in space. But it's like
there's creepy shit going on. We got steam here.
And then the one thing I never noticed was the fucking little steam erupt, like the vents on the top of their helmet where they'll shoot out the little the oxygen shootouts. Which that makes sense. That was cool. I never noticed it before, but like.
It's got to be aesthetic
I think it is.
Again, when you think about those things, they are all very this.
Mm-hmm.
When I see them in other movies,
I'm like, you. I know what you're doing there. Yeah.
What?
No, talking about when people are considering ripping off
I
Alien.
thought you saw something I was doing. I'm not doing anything.
You're
I'm
always
telling you a
doing
thing.
something.
For once, I'm not ragging on something you like. I'm just explaining a thing.
No, you're like my old roommate Sammy, who will literally go out of his way to rag on something,
Yeah.
even if he likes it. He just likes to piss me off.
Well, now at this point, that is what it's kind of turned into, and it is a lot of fun.
It's just years of memes here.
Mm-hmm. So they search the down ship. They find the...
Which is a weird looking ship. I did write down weird ass shape, horseshoe style with fucking weird jet outs on one side. It almost looks like a worm.
Yeah.
Wormy.
Well, I mean, it's a very... The whole alien Prometheus race of their shit.
The xenomorph. Well, the xenomorphs are the aliens, but then you have the...
I couldn't think of what their people are called.
Yeah, you could do your thing. I'll look it up.
It's very organic. And I don't remember if... So that ship would be the guys from Prometheus' ship.
Right.
It's not a xenomorph ship.
Engineers. That's what they're called. Yeah.
Isn't it?
What?
That ship that they're on in Alien would technically be an engineer ship.
That is an engineer ship, because when they get inside, they actually show...
One of them.
Well, back then they called them giant space jockeys.
Right.
But yeah, it was an engineer ship. That's why everything is so huge in those corridors, because how big they are as a species.
Being,
yeah.
Because then they showed the guy that was chest busted and fossilized, and that was an engineer.
Yeah.
So So I mean, it's essentially, and I think they even say it in the movie. It's a parasite that infected that ship, laid all its eggs, and blah, blah,
and
blah,
that's,
blah.
I mean, and they don't really get into where the eggs come from like they will later on, but there's obviously a queen on there somewhere, because there's no way to have all those eggs without them,
right?
And so. Yeah, they're
just
engineers.
like the whole chicken thing. So they find... I like it's not an SOS, it's a warning.
Right. But yeah, they don't tell you that it's a warning. Like, they find out it's a warning.
Yeah.
But like...
While they're in the... I almost dropped my phone. They figure it out while they're already in the ship and screwed.
Yeah, well, it's already too late.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, like... Okay, so I wrote down, like, once they're walking inside that ship, like, that is all Hans Rudy. That's his vision. Like, I don't... You said you haven't seen a lot of his...
all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, I think I have in something. I think, like, maybe
I'll pull
I was
up some
watching...
stuff before I leave, and I'll show you.
I might have watched some, like, Prometheus...
special features
several years ago.
Yeah, for those that don't know...
I like my special features.
Yeah, your special
fun.
features. Well, they are. Yeah,
You
like when
dick.
well, I'm not shitting on you. I was actually bringing some connectivity from your last podcast, because you used to talk about how much you're a special features guy, and it just became a meme.
Yeah.
Kind of like with your welcome back to the show for those that have never been, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're very memey. Not that it's a bad thing.
For those that don't know, I do that.
Yeah, you do
What
that
was
a lot.
the other one? Oh, I'll have to look it up. Anyway, yeah, so they find the eggs in a hole.
Okay, so I'd put down, they're like, let's get out of here, but they never, whenever somebody says we need to get out of here, they never, they need to, and they never get out of there.
There's always those one or two guys that are like, oh no, let's keep going.
Yeah.
This could be fun and interesting.
Right.
It's never fun and interesting, you die.
But yeah, I wrote that down, like, let's get out of here. They never do. But in fact, let's go in further.
Yeah.
So they continue to go in more.
I know this looks bad, but in the center of all this bad could be some good.
Right, and around that time is where you start to see the little tells that Ash is sketchy as shit.
Yeah.
With, like, just, he does a really good job of
he does.
putting that out there, good old Bilbo. But
I knew he looked familiar.
Yeah, Ian Holm, yeah.
I even looked him up on IMDb, and I didn't care enough to keep digging, but I was like,
but he was also thicker.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't just...
he's a big dude now.
Well, no, I mean, like, he was, like, solid. He looked like he was, like, a sturdy guy, you know, and then you see him as Bilbo and he's all obviously older and more frail, but he's thinned out a little bit. And this one, I'm like, this guy looks like he's very athletic. Yeah. But so yeah, they're walking around the ship, and of course, I don't remember. Kane is the name. Kane fucking slips in like the worst possible spot on the ship that you can slip into the egg pit. is what I was calling it, but like.
I called it eggs in a hole.
Eggs in a hole? Yeah, that's the
what
worst
you do
place.
When you have bread and you put an egg in the middle. That's an egg in a hole.
Oh, I've never had that. I've never.
It's also called the one-eyed jack, I think.
Okay, we're going down a food hole now. That sounds really. I love eggs and I love toast. Bread. But yeah, that's the worst place to fall, man. Because like, and see, the funny thing is like after seeing Prometheus. After not seeing Alien for so long, like watching this, like I'm like, oh, okay. So like when he's looking at the egg and you could see the stuff going up, like it was falling up opposed to like falling down like what gravity does. Like the little water droplets are going up the side of it opposed to down. Like the things that you would see in Prometheus. Like I didn't realize how much they had pulled from that to put into Prometheus until... having to
connect.
Yeah, and it, like I kind of like Prometheus gets a lot of shit for not being that great of a movie, but they really do have a lot of callbacks to.
They did their due diligence.
Yes,
and
they a lot of fan service.
Yeah, they really tried to make sure it felt like, and to me it does, but we'll get to that on our Prometheus.
It's a lot.
Episode.
It's not as dark.
Yeah.
You know, everything's a lot more light and bright, but yeah, I didn't think
Sunshiny day.
The face huggers though, those fucking eggs, the way that they fucking fold open.
Yeah.
And honestly, when it comes to creatures, or I know I've said that Candyman was the scariest when it came to like horror, like the thing that scared me the most. I might have to take that back and say just the face hugger, not even the xenomorph. Face huggers are fucking terrifying.
They really are.
Dude, just the way, like, so they're slipping around inside there.
They're like little crab, spider, lobster things, and it's really disturbing.
Right? And so, like, the way that it moves inside along on itself and all that, and then it jumps out, grabs, you know.
Like wraps around your head.
Yeah, like big old long fucking fingers around the back of your head, and then the tail wraps around your neck.
Yeah, and down your throat.
Yeah, but there's like a I don't want to say it's wienery, but it's like a little tube.
Tongue.
Well, but I mean it's cylindrical, and it has like
barbs.
Maybe barbs, but I mean it's almost like a straw.
Yeah.
But obviously a lot bigger and alive. And yeah, it does go down in your throat, which I mean, you do find out later that it like feeds you oxygen to keep you alive while it's wrapped the fuck around your head.
Yeah, and planting an egg in your chest.
Oh God, yeah,
it's such a weird. Like I've never really stopped to think about the progression of the xenomorph, but going from the egg to the face hugger to the chest buster. To this little thing scampering around your damn floor.
Which was hilarious too.
Fucking thing.
Right. But even think about like even with the chest burster part being evolved from what it came from, the idea to get to that point to be like, okay, so we're gonna come up with a creature that'll wrap itself around your head, implant a seed inside your body, which you become an incubator while you rapidly birth a creature through your chest.
Yeah.
Off topic, dude. You know those CPAP face masks for people that have to wear them for sleep apneas or whatever?
Yeah.
Well, dude, I saw online that somebody put a face hugger
thing
around it. And I mean, I'll add that to the show notes, but like, yeah, dude, like the dude's breathing mask is inside of a face hugger that is literally all the way around his head. It is super cool. And I'm like, People are
You
so
wish
much
you
more.
needed one of those.
I kind of.
My
Yeah.
only thing is I would never be able to fall asleep with that thing wrapped around my face.
No,
It would freak me the hell out.
that and yeah, I don't like I don't wear I love hats, but I don't wear hats as much because like I don't like having shit on my head. Sunglasses, like I'm not an accessory guy, and so that just seems a lot extra, even though it's super cool. And so then that happens. The facehugger jumps out of the egg, wraps itself around the mask. Which the thing that I don't understand is later on you see that he gets inside that, but that's glass. But it's like he melted the glass. It melted the glass down so it could get inside.
Yeah.
But how? How did it melt the glass without? Because as I show later with the acid blood, that goes all the way through levels. Like this thing, like it doesn't ever tell you. But I mean,
To me, it happened so fast I didn't quite try and break it down. It was just
well, I never have either, but I was just thinking, I'm like, how did he get inside the helmet? Because you would think that how would it get inside the helmet when...
To me, it was the force of it. It was so fast, and I kind of wish they'd shown like some sort of damage to his face.
Well, if you look later, he has like these kind of spots start to appear more as the movie goes, as it progresses. Like I almost like blisters, which don't really make sense, but like...
Well, I would think there'd be like tiny glass cuts or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because I mean, but when they show Kane, we'll get to this in a second, but so they're carrying him back to the ship because they find him, and it's got the facehugger inside the helmet, but it doesn't ever like give you any reasoning of how it could do that other than melting it with its acid blood, but that would melt all the way through because it did that to metal.
Yeah, it would
And
definitely destroy the suit.
Right, and the person underneath it. And so, they carry him back to the ship. They get to the ship. They're like, let us in. And then we have the hatch debate. Where they're like, Ripley's like, I'm not letting you in.
Don't break fucking quarantine. That's my note.
24
Don't break
hours.
quarantine.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But rules is rules.
Yeah.
24 hours. That would suck.
Like, and that's my thing. It's like,
You have those for a reason.
yeah. I mean, the whole point is it's a hostile, scary alien something that is essentially looks like it will probably kill this guy.
Well,
even
yeah,
if it
and I mean,
doesn't.
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of the fact that they knew that there was something on his head.
Yeah.
And, was Dallas was one of the ones out there?
Yeah, he was the one that said, well, he wasn't outside. He was inside.
I thought he was outside and Ripley was inside because he's like
maybe he
open
was.
he's like open the goddamn door, and she's like, no, 24 hours, the rules. And
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
It happens.
But see, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I didn't even think about that until just now, being like, well, they carried his body.
Yeah.
They knew that there was something there. Like, there's no concern about the fact that this guy's got a fucking
Crab thing on his face?
yeah, like
it's on his face. You don't know what it's going to do. It could have killed him already.
and then to pop onto your face.
Yeah, and then you're dead, and then goes to the next person. Like, you don't know it's going to progress the way it does.
Right.
And if you did, you'd be even dumber.
Yeah.
But even as is,
I'm sorry, Justin, but if I'm on
if I get face hugged,
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
leaving
just
you
leave
there.
me.
Well, I mean, hindsight is obvious, being like, yeah, leave me, but you're like, you better not fucking leave me.
chop
but-
off my head.
Oh.
Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't want to get chest busted. Because he was doing fine for a minute there.
Yeah, he was doing all right.
He had an
He was sitting
appetite
there.
back.
Oh, God, he started mowing that food. Like, he was just like...
And he was feeding the beast, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
But-
Eating for two.
Isn't that cute?
Isn't that cute?
Baby
yeah.
on board sticker on his shirt.
Yeah, I said mistakes were made. And, I mean, they do have a point. Why didn't they freeze him?
Yeah.
That was one of the things Parker said. They're talking about, like, freeze him for a little bit until you can figure out what's going on. Like,
Well, and in my notes, I put, nobody listens to Ripley, believe it or not.
motherfucker, dude. Yeah. I was wondering what you were gonna go with and what your fucking I was like, what's the note of the day gonna be? Believe it or not. Oh, okay. Okay. You fucking threw me off. Acid blood! Exclamation point. So
Sign number 2, that guy just needs to get shuttled out into space and left for dead.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when they're like, so they bring him in. We didn't say, yeah, Ash opens the door and like, oh, sorry, door's opening.
Yeah.
Like, trying
Whoopsie.
to play. Yep. Whoopsie. Like the door opens, they get him inside, they get him on the table. They saw the helmet in half to get it off.
Yeah.
But that's when you kind of see, like, it almost looks like it almost looks as if it's not glass, but it's like a plastic, what's the word I'm looking for? Plexiglass almost,
yeah.
where it's like really sturdy and then it's like melted and folded in. Right?
Right.
But so they get it off there and then they see it and then, the tail's wrapped around the neck. That's what really fucks with me too, because it's like they're like, how do we get this off? They kind of touch the finger and then they could see the tail tighten up a little bit. And then
Lambert comes over and they have the girl fight.
Oh, well, yeah, that's outside the room. That's outside, yeah, where she's standing there and Ripley walks up. She just smacks her right across the face. Yeah. And then she's like, I'm like,
want to step on me?
Yeah,
like,
you want some bitch? Well, fucking Sigourney Weaver is a titan of a woman. She's very tall.
Yeah.
She's
no slouch.
That's like if I went up to a dude that was like a foot taller than me and smacked him in his face and being like...
And also, she was right. Don't let the fucker in.
She's 100% right the whole time. Nobody listens to her.
Spoiler, the lone survivor because of that.
Right. And I mean, yeah, like literally everybody does die. Mm-hmm. But I didn't put that down in there, but fuck yeah, dude. They
go at it for a good couple seconds there.
Yeah, they're just slap in the face, a scuffle. Parker's like, you freeze him. And then they're like, well, we got to get this off. And so they're like, we'll try to cut one of the fingers.
Yeah. Which is a solid plan.
Yeah, it makes sense. You don't expect it to have...
acid blood.
Yes. Which, I mean, they called it something... Like, what did they call it? Metabiological... something... They had a name for it.
Special acid.
Yeah, but, like, you don't expect that. And so, like, it drops on the ground and then it starts to drip through. And then it stops, like, 3 floors down.
Yeah.
But, like, that was always one of the things I thought that was the coolest about Alien was the fact that its blood was acidic. Mm-hmm. And that's one hell of a defense mechanism. Yeah. Like, cut me. Go ahead.
Dead.
Dead. Dead.
Cut you back.
Right? And so... Eventually, it's still on the face. Mm-hmm. They never actually get it off.
No, they just say, okay, well, we'll
come back later, which is when they should have froze him.
Yeah. Why didn't that happen?
Yeah.
No, but then they just leave him there and they let the face hugger get away.
Well, no, they, like...
I know it's still in the room.
Well, yeah, they come back in there and it's off and they're trying to find it, but then they find it dead on the ground.
But let's be fair. Didn't Ash probably know?
I think that Ash did know because he's like, he knows what's really going on, but he's not telling anybody because he wants them to unwillingly do what he needs them to do.
It's like David and Prometheus.
It's exactly that. And that's why it's like, now I kind of need to go, I have it. I should go back and watch and be like, how much is Prometheus actually really like Alien?
Very much.
Yeah.
Just no Fassbender.
Oh, God. Right? But yeah, so they go back in there. They find it laying on the ground. And Kane is laying there. So they start to do the autopsy. Mm-hmm. And they did a pretty good job with that practical effect. Like, I remember reading, like, there was some, like, oyster and other real meat parts that were put in there.
I believe it.
Yeah, it was really well done. Mm-hmm. For the time, it doesn't, like, even today, looking at that, it doesn't look fake.
I agree.
Yeah, like,
I was looking at my next.
No, I know you were. I was just and so they start to do the autopsy, figure it out. They don't figure anything out, and then I wrote down they're finally getting out of there, so they get off the planet.
And there's 10 months. They have 10 months until they're finally back to Earth.
Right. And then I put Kane is okay in quotations.
I put Kane is feeling able.
Not as good as the Believe It or Not, but
I know,
I'll
but
give you it's a meme.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's seemingly all right. Everything's going okay. Eating the shit out of food. They do the scan on him, which is very of the time just basically a light beam. Like it's literally like a light bulb, like something you have in your room in here, just going back and forth over it. Like it's like, nope, that's a light. It's a scan. Yeah, it's scanning.
Yeah, that's how that works.
But don't they see the thing inside his chest?
I don't think so.
Well, yeah, that I know.
You'd think they would.
And I remember seeing
don't.
something like that, so I'm thinking it might have happened in another movie where they actually show it wiggling around inside. They're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, because it completely takes them by surprise, because they all go and eat, and Kane's chowing down.
Yeah, he's just
and then the chest buster just ruins dinner, because he has this
he starts
massive
like freak out.
and,
Yeah, dude. And like,
which I probably would too.
I would too. I mean, I put that it bursts and books it, because like it's doing all that. They get him on the table.
Worst heartburn ever.
Huh?
Worst heartburn ever.
Oh, good God. Yeah, they got him on the table and they're trying to hold him down, and he's writhing around, essentially looking like he's having a seizure.
Yeah.
And so they hold him down, and then the initial blood spurt I thought was super cool. So
really
before
was.
any of that even happens, it's almost like somebody just threw a cup of blood at the wall, but underneath the shirt. So it's like,
yeah.
I was like, okay, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Fucked. Like I would have been like
screwed.
Yeah, if I would have been holding you down and I saw that happen to your shirt, I'm leaving the room. I'm sorry.
I'm glad you have my back.
I mean, I have your back until you something starts exploding from your chest.
Yes, but I thought we were friends.
Fight or flight. I'm not gonna fight you, but I will fly away from you. Yeah, dude. So like that was really brutal.
It was.
And then that call, like we talked about it in the fun fact part about it catching everybody off guard and surprising them with the extent of the effect that they went to.
Yeah.
But like when it pops out and it's like doing its little thing, I'm like, okay, obviously that's a puppet. It doesn't look bad, but like the little,
it's pretty well detailed.
Like I can't get that high pitch, but the little squeal thing that it does. And probably the funniest part is when it actually gets out and then it like fucking does like a speed book where it fucking like it reels back like it's almost doing a wheelie. Right? And you can see the tail behind it as it's going.
That's a bit rough. It looked fine for the time.
Yeah, but so I put on Twitter on my way over here. We're getting together recording episode 5, and I was looking for an alien gif to put on there, catch your attention kind of thing. And the one thing I saw was it was essentially the little chest burst alien with like a top hat, and like the tail was sticking up, but his legs were going like that. Like it was pretty cool.
Doing the cha-cha.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or the can, I mean.
And so yeah, he ends up, obviously he doesn't survive that, and they give him the traditional space funeral.
Yeah.
Where they just
Spock in the sunglass case getting see ya, fucker.
Yep.
Should have did this about a day or two ago.
Right.
Boom.
And
I didn't mean to do a voice there. I just had a
yeah,
moment.
you really did. I was like, I'm gonna just go for it, dude.
Yeah, I said it weird, and I just kind of
There we go.
Jolly good.
Yeah.
Send them spiced in.
Yeah.
So then they start tracking the cat.
Well, the funny thing is like I put down the shot vac radar because that big old thing. At first, I put that thing
big leaf blower.
Yeah, well, leaf blower, yeah, but it was like a big old thing, and I was thinking more of the dustbuster is what I should have put.
Yes.
But
Loser.
At first I had in my notes, I'm like, that thing has shit for range. because he's like in front of it doing like, oh, it does work, beep beep beep, you know, and I'm like,
If it has to be that close, you're screwed.
that's what I thought too. And I'm like, God, you're not really giving yourself that much room there. But later on, they show that it does have some range, so I went back and deleted it. But
They should have had someone like across the room like move.
right, like,
Hey,
hey,
look at me over here.
yeah,
Oh, I see it.
and then I put cat scare.
Oh, Jesus.
Those, you know what?
They're the worst
Yeah, dude, because like
in a good way.
this movie, the cat scared me. The cat jump scares got me more than the alien.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
We'll get to it later.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. But so then we get into, I think, probably visually like one of my favorite parts of the movie. And it's like, it's when it gets, am I missing something from between the cat and then when, what's his name goes off on his own?
Brett.
Huh?
Brett.
Is that his name?
Yeah. Which is the guy, the Avengers guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name is Brett, Harry Dean Stanton. Okay, because I was trying to stall while I looked up his name.
Yeah, you see the shedded skin.
Right, which is, fun fact, is like a shredded condom and some other parts to make that nice shiver there, yeah, to make the prop. But like, it worked.
It did.
Yeah.
I would never have guessed that that's what that was. It looked like just a snake skin.
Right, but like that scene, like that is probably one of my favorite parts of the movie, is when, you know, it's building the tension, and then, you know, when it finally shows the alien up in the chain, hanging from the chains, like I thought that was so cool looking, just because I put down in my notes, I was like, oops, wrong button there. I put down stealthy alien, chain hangs, and then I put face punch.
Yeah, he gets like bit in the face.
Oh yeah, the
with
way it's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my only like little complaints is you really don't see how a lot of these people die, and it
leaves a lot to imagination because you see him get the little Minnie mouthed, and then the same thing with Parker later. Spoilers.
They get Mickey mouthed.
Minnie mouthed, yeah.
And the other two get Mickey mouthed.
Oh, okay. I thought that you thought I said Mickey, and I was like, no, I said Minnie, and I didn't even put that together until that, and I'm like, Minnie mouth, dude, that's clever. Good job, Brandon. But yeah, stealthy. Yeah. Stealthy as shit. And the funny thing is,
He's a big dude.
Yeah, and it goes from little to full grown
very
immediately.
Quickly.
Like it's almost like it shed that. Like, could you imagine the shedding process?
Yeah.
It's like, where's the rest of the sheds?
We kind of see it in Prometheus. Not to keep going back to that movie.
Well, no, but it draws a lot of parallels, so it makes sense. But like, when you shed that skin, I wouldn't expect you to go from the size of a pop can to the size of a 2-liter bottle just by shedding. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's got to be more.
He went from pop can to basketball player.
Yeah, literally the size of a, Subway sandwich. Yeah, a shack.
Who probably eats at Subway? We don't know.
Dude, Subway sounds really good right now.
Yeah, there's one near my house.
Oh, yeah, there is. And so the next thing I had is like, the thing that I thought was really cool was the hat, the little hatch that they had with the way that it opens and closed like a shutter.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, that's really cool looking. Like just gets bigger, gets smaller.
Yeah.
Just.
I don't have anything on that, so
I don't either. I was just like, I thought that was really cool, and I paused for a second because I was trying to think if that's when Dallas is in the vents.
Yeah, we're getting close to it because my next thing is Dallas goes it alone and gets it in the shaft of the ship.
That was good. Gets shafted. Yikes. Okay, so yeah, I did
another one that we don't really see.
No, you don't see it all. You don't see any of it, and there's a reason for that.
Well, yeah,
which
I know.
Which
was nice. It was a nice payoff at the end.
Which I forgot.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, like, and the thing I put down is like when he is going it alone, I'm trying to imagine Harrison Ford doing this. Like, I'm trying to like every time I see him do something, I'm like,
Is that what Harrison Ford would do?
no, I'm just picturing being like, how would that have changed this movie? Would it made it better? Would it
I
made
don't
it
think
worse?
so.
I don't think it would have either. But I mean, those are the questions I'm asking myself when I'm seeing Scare It. You know what I mean? Like, just trying to picture like what it would look like, what it would sound like.
I don't know, but to me, Ford is so identifiable, even back then. Whereas these guys, like I've said
almost
at
like
least
Will Smith in a
4
movie.
times now, like I didn't know who these people were until I looked them up and went, "Oh, that's what they look like."
Right. Harrison Ford is so Harrison Ford. Like it's like Will Smith in the movie. Like Will Smith is
Like he may be playing the genie, but it's still Will Smith.
exactly, or the way he like with Deadshot and Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
It was
Will
him.
Smith is
It was
Deadshot.
it was more of Will Smith than it was an actual character. But that's what happens when you are like that. I'm not saying that Harrison Ford is on a Will Smith level, but like at that time,
close.
Yeah, it's up
especially
there.
at that time.
I mean, it's up there. But yeah, dude, like I'm very happy that Tom Skerritt was the one that was in that.
Yeah, me too.
And I actually texted you this while I was watching the movie, saying I wish I had a flamethrower. You're like, don't we all?
I wish I had one right now.
Oh, so do
Just for
I.
you,
Like, I see like 2 shelves that could really.
the DC ones.
No, I was looking at your Simpsons and your Disney shelf.
Simpsons is great, and so is
And then
Disney.
this-
You shot your face.
Just I just
So-
do a fucking.
After much debate and the thing they should have done 2 seconds in, they finally go with the blow it into space plan.
Oh,
Like, no shit.
okay. So yeah, because I put down Dallas meets the alien. Dallas is, and that when that alien comes out with his hands like that, and like you see it. I forgot about that part, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" And I'm laying on my couch on my side, and my leg jumps up in the air, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Now
Fucking,
you're definitely a flighter.
yeah, because I'm like, the funny thing is like jump scares don't get me
Yeah.
until recently. I think it's because I'm getting old, and like I'm
And
like,
slow.
yeah, like I'm so relaxed and so like in the moment that like, oh fuck. And so I put Ripley taking charge and now has access to Mother. And then that part where, she goes in there and she learns what's really going on. And then it zooms out and she's sitting there in the chair and you fucking see Ash right next to her, like all creepy smiling. Like, I'm like, oh, what are you doing?
Hello there.
Hi. You didn't even hear you come in. I mean, you could generally hear the, like a door opening and closing. Like,
No,
Yeah.
not at all. He was just like under the desk.
yeah, just hiding. And,
And she finds out that Mother wants the alien
yeah,
and to hell with everyone else.
pretty much, yeah, crew's expendable. And she
Yeah.
gets real pissed.
It's like, well, if we're all dead, how are you going to get the alien back, Holmes?
Right. And
But
so,
whatever.
she goes back and then they're all in that room. And then it's revealed that Ash is an android. 'Cause
Yeah,
he's
Ash
kinda-
takes a turn very quickly.
Yeah, he has like the milk sweats, like the way,
Yeah.
because everything inside them is so milky. But when it
Yeah.
starts to drip from the head, I put his android robot reveal, and then just starts throwing Ripley around, and
Chokes her with the magazine.
yeah,
which
that was the one
fucking
thing.
brutal.
Like, I'm like, that doesn't. I was watching that and I wrote that down. I said, not sure with the rolled up magazine in her mouth. I'm like, I'm not sure if that would really. Like,
I would think it would kill someone.
well,
We
I mean,
can try
if
it later. I
if
got
you,
magazines over
I'm
there.
like, if you have android strength, I guess, but like,
Well, if you have android strength, couldn't you do something more clever than making her choke on a magazine?
but the magazine never went into her mouth. It was like resting on the top of her face
Well, that was probably a...
and pushing down. Like, that was so like,
I thought it was in her mouth.
for the sake of what was happening, it probably should have, would have,
Was supposed
is.
to have been.
Right, and it actually
For safety reasons, it probably wasn't.
right, and so, but it's something that I'd never seen happen before and never saw again. Like,
Possibly for good reason.
well, yeah, it was dumb, but it was also clever. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say clever, but it was different. And so the funny part is like when that's happening, and then Parker runs over to try to break it up. And then he's all like, he's got the strong hand coming over and then does the death grip into the chest. And I'm like, oh my God.
Like, if you're that strong, why are you using a fucking magazine?
Yeah, like just crush somebody's head. But yeah, it was really like, I don't want to like Vulcan death grip, but like he fucking did just like gripped his chest pinch. And was like ripping, like I'm gonna pinch your skin with my hand, like
I'm gonna make you submit.
Yeah, it was silly as hell. But then he gets fire extinguisher smashed in the head and it rips his head off.
Yeah, that was brutal.
That was really cool looking
and pretty gross.
Yeah, because then you have I lost my thing here.
Well, my thing is creepy diagnostics, so they basically rip the head off and plug it back in so they can figure out what the fuck he's up to.
Right, and I said, yeah, headless Ash, and it was kind of funny because the way that they edit it to where she's trying to make his head stand up, and then it keeps falling
very fake,
over.
Very fake.
Very fake.
To very real.
To really him, and then back to very fake. I'm like... Like, for some really good practical effects that you guys had in the movie, I'm like, is this where the budget got a little thin on? Because, I mean, there was a lot of milk spitting out of his mouth, and, like, it was cool, you know, the bulby wires inside that they're prodding. Like, all that was really cool. And I like that when they did... same thing in Prometheus. Like, it looked like it was... like, it really... Maybe that's why Prometheus wasn't that bad to me, is because it was essentially Alien remade.
And we forgot, so we didn't care.
Right.
We weren't mad about it like everyone else.
Yeah, so they're like, fuck this movie. And so, the funny thing, like, with that, like, they figure out what's going on, and, like, the voice effect was pretty cool. Like, when he was talking... but the next thing I had that kind of made me chuckle, laugh out loud, was when the alien was walking and he just swats the cat carrying case out of the way. He's all, fuck you, cat. He fucking just swats it.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he just swats it out of the way as he's walking through, and I'm like, I wrote down space cat carrier. Wait.
Maybe it's a Flurkin.
Nope. That was later on.
It is later on.
So, yeah, that fucking very futuristic cat carrier was kind of cool. Like, it looked like it had like a light in there and all sorts of shit.
I need one of those for my cat.
Right. And so they're going off they're going off somewhere. Were they looking for
something? They're
Brett?
getting supplies.
Were they looking for
and
Brett?
Shit.
Or somebody? Well, maybe no parts for the... Was it the parts for the flamethrower?
Maybe, because they
like
had
I just watched it yesterday, too.
Me too. Like, they had a cart, and it was full of crap, and they were bringing it, carting it, trolleying it over to somewhere.
Right, and that's when...
then they get xenomorphed.
Yeah, yeah, they did. Well, and Lambert, with her, like, really horrible, scared, afraid face, like... See, the thing
Should have sprayed her with blood again. She did good there.
But that part right there, like, they do... And I don't know if this is in the regular movie and they cut this part out, but they show the tail, the classic tail going under the leg and then going up part way and then nothing else.
Well, and then she's like, it like stabs her, but it kind of looks like it goes up there.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah, like a downstairs liftoff.
Yeah.
Kind of like, yeah. Like, yeah, I get it, but like...
That would hurt. It'd make me scream.
Yes, it doesn't matter what you have down there. That tail looks like it has a knife on the end of it.
Yeah,
and
I saw 7. That doesn't look fun.
I forgot about that. Does that count as horror?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we should talk about it someday.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, like they didn't really... They left it to your imagination. Mm-hmm. But the funny thing is it's like Parker sees this 6'10" alien and like... Your first thought would be to rush it, to try to fight it.
No.
Yeah,
because it would be to kill it.
Yeah,
or
well, I put
run away.
Well, I put Parker rushes and gets dead because he gets swatted off to the side. But then they actually show the effect of the mini mouth, like biting into the skin realistically. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh shit, okay.
Well, he's gone.
Yeah, that sucks for him. Yeah, until Ripley finds him later.
Sure. Well, and then so she activates the emergency destruct
Right.
for the ship, and then she finds the people hive.
Yeah, I put Dallas alive-ish on a wall of sick because that wall is very gross.
I have the people hive roast.
Yeah, right. Yeah, dude, it was a really gross effect. Like looking at that wall, like, oh, just
Well, and
imagine.
it's kind of sad, and because you can hear him like saying "kill me," and it's like, so he's still alive.
Right.
And knows that some shit's going on. I'd imagine they're all incubators.
Yeah, well,
or something.
No, wait. Isn't that, like, don't they do that to where they set them up to be incubators? So, like, they basically,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
well, the eggs aren't there yet.
Well, yeah, because I don't have face huggers, or they might have
They
already.
they don't on the ship. They would have to bring the queen on board that to do it. But, I mean, that's generally what I think they did in the other movies, is that they would paste them to the wall with their bio shit, and then they wouldn't be able to move, and that's when the face huggers would get them, which is a cool idea.
Yeah. And horrifying, and
at the same
make
time
you shiver in a way that you'll never stop.
And that's when the Xeno's coming towards them, and then smacks the cat carrier out of the way. That was like, he's just like, fuck this cat out of the way. But yes, she does set the self-destruct sequence.
And then she tries to
cancel
stop it.
She tries to cancel. She's like, Mother, shut it down. And Mother's like, fuck you.
Too late, bitch. You're
too
dead.
late.
But she finds the damn cat finally.
Yeah, she does. And then tries to stop it, but then she tried to stop it for 5 minutes, because once it hits 5 minutes, it can't be stopped at all.
Yeah.
So, like, once it's halfway done, it
Screwed.
doesn't matter. And so, like...
Well, but by the time she actually got there and was in shutdown mode, like, she couldn't... Yeah,
she was trying to push the things down.
And the countdown was already over with.
Yeah.
Like, you're just done. Like, and then she gets to the escape pod anyway, so it's like, why are you trying to not...
Just get on... You're
the only one left. Get on the fucking pod and
get out.
And then she does.
And then I put the cat made it.
Of course.
Which is... Well, yeah, you don't want the cat to die.
No, I don't. We'll get to that later.
Well, yeah, and I just realized that I didn't actually write down my scorecard, but luckily I could just riff it.
That's good.
Yeah, it is good. And so it's all nice and calm, and everything's...
They put the cat in the cryo tube, which I thought was interesting. Where was the cat initially?
In its own tube.
Was it?
I don't know. They didn't show it.
Shows up.
I think that...
Like, where was the fucking
I think that
cat?
it was in its own tube.
Okay.
That makes the most sense.
The most sense, because otherwise, wouldn't it die? Or maybe there was a feeder, like an auto feeder, that would just, like, feed it during those 10 months.
I mean, it's possible.
Maybe. I don't know. I thought of that later on.
It could have been one of those two options. Yeah. But yeah, everything's nice and calm. Ripley's in chill out mode, and she's like, fuck you, I made it.
Watching Netflix and hanging out.
Chilling in her chones and just a tank top, which nobody wore bras in the 70s.
Yeah, so it's all good.
Yeah, exactly.
But then there's an alien stowaway.
Yeah.
Which I actually loved seeing it all curled up in the tubing.
That
and
was
shit.
really cool.
Yeah, it looked really good.
That was the second time that it scared me, is when the hand popped up. I'm like, you motherfucker. Like, I forgot that part happened. But, like, the funny thing is when she sees it and then she runs to hide in the closet.
Basically.
And then I put that she's trying to shoot up, and then you just see the damn little alien mouth just coming out. Just like, okay. Like,
I'm wondering why it's going so slowly.
Yeah, I don't know if
it wasn't injured.
Yeah, it was just chilling. Like, it literally
was
made no effort to get out until after she opened the door.
Yeah.
And then it's all like fucking freaking out.
I didn't think you'd do that. Shit.
Yeah. But yeah, I put it just chilling there. I liked how it was nice, like wrapped up, and it didn't move right away. And she's like standing right in front of it doing shit, and you could see the fucking head. And I'm like, yes, that's so cool. And it was a clever hiding spot for like those like
with all those tubes and shit. Like you almost don't see it.
Well, the funny thing is like in later iterations, you'll see that the xenomorphs are portrayed as just, dumb pack hunters style things that predators hunt later on. But this xenomorph was incredibly smart and used its surroundings to either blend in, be stealthy, hide, do whatever it had to do to do what it had to do. Like, it's a lot more intelligent than it's portrayed as later on. But so she's wiggling her way into the spacesuit, everything gets good. She walks out, like the alien's still laying in there. Yeah. No effort to get out.
No.
Just
like, I'm surprised.
It's like, hey,
I'm just gonna sit in this chair. It's like it was asleep.
Yeah,
and
like
maybe it was asleep and it didn't realize she was there.
Oh no, I think it knew. Like what I got from it was like it deliberately hid, stowed away, and then made itself known, and then like it. I feel like it planned, like that was its intentions were to hide out and then
you
wait
don't
for the moment.
see me, okay?
Right. Well, and you don't until later on
you
when
do.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, why aren't you trying to get out to get her?
Yeah.
Like
it's like when my cat hides halfway behind a box, but you can still see its ass and tail.
Yeah, like I still see you. But so she suited up. She sits down in the chair. She's slowly buckling herself in to open the door to suck everything out. Which
I love that whole sequence, though.
I do too.
Like her frighteningly putting on the suit very slowly.
Oh yeah, it was great. And then like she finally hits it, but it's not sucking it out. It's just basically blowing a bunch of steam in his face. And then he's like,
more steam,
freaking out. And then it finally gets out.
That's the payoff for all the steam.
Right. Well, does she do something that does that, and then she waits till it gets out and is coming towards her before she opens the door?
I think so.
I think so too. And then
if not,
it makes
why not?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Let's just say that's what happened.
Right. And so she waits for him to come at her, and then opens the door. But then I put the sequence of what happened to it was it got sucked out, harpooned, and Kentucky Fried. Because essentially, he gets sucked out and holds on, and then she harpoons him, and then that works. But of course, the harpoon gun is it's still attached to the gun. The gun gets stuck on the door.
Of course it does.
Yeah, and so he's just hanging there in his fucking pajama-looking fucking costume. Like that was the worst. Because in the movie, like they do,
you never really see it.
You
so
do
it looks
really
fine.
well of making him look sleek and terrifying. And then at the very end, it's almost like somebody put you in an alien snuggie, and then like you're just floating around outside. And so
I'm a monster.
Right, and I put, of course, the gun gets stuck, and then he tries to climb in through the jets, which was awesome. Yeah. And then gets just blasted. Just torched. Yeah, and so, like, it wasn't too bad of a payoff for a fight. And so, she gets it. Everything's all good and done. And
she gives her final mission report.
Yep, Ripley's signing off.
And she'll be hopefully to Earth within 6 weeks.
Right. God, that went from 10 months to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They made a lot of progress that day.
Well, maybe, you know what? Maybe they were both out for 6.5 months, 7.5 months on the way back towards Earth. Or
maybe.
I don't
like she took a couple months snooze and this was her waking up again.
Yeah, maybe the alien was out.
That would make more sense.
I mean,
aside from why not kill her while she's helpless in a tube.
True.
But that aside, it would make sense if they were both hibernating and he was waiting for her to wake up.
I mean, essentially if that pod itself just was a makeshift hyperchamber as well. Just lay down and pass out. They're both out. I mean,
and if the ship isn't on, it'd get really cold.
Yeah.
So it would be in like hibernation. Let's just say that's what happened.
Well, we'll write our own ending.
Yeah, that makes more sense than what happened.
But so yeah, just Ripley signing off. End of the movie. Makes me want to watch Aliens because everybody says Aliens is better. It's been
I don't remember that being the case. I know I'm probably an outlier in that, but I've seen Aliens and I've seen
them all. It's been a long time and I want to watch it, but I also don't know how long it'll be until I pick it to cover it.
Well, sure.
And depending on how well this episode does, will determine whether or not I do it sooner rather than later.
True.
Which is also before we get into our scorecard, just want to say thank you for surprisingly, it kind of started out slow, but Brightburn, the episode has done
burning brightly.
Yeah, it's burning bright. It's currently it's creeping up. So our Lost Boys is the most listened to episode.
That's too bad.
Yeah, maybe for you. Followed by Nightmare, and then followed very closely by Meat Train.
Good.
And Brightburn is not far behind Meat Train.
Awesome.
And Brightburn has only been up for a week.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, just thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
keep spreading, letting your friends know.
Yeah,
and we'll do the whole spiel at the end.
Yeah, we'll do the spiel. But yeah, like, share, word of mouth.
Everything helps. And the more the better.
And so, just a
Any
thank you.
horror groups that you know of, share.
I mean, I made a horror group on Facebook, but nobody joined it. and so it'll be there for if the show ever takes off.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I mean, we have the Facebook page where I share a bunch of horror shit, and you can like and comment on it. But the group isn't that big of a deal. It's just like I don't even know.
It's a small sandwich.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Did you say dill? God damn you. I hate you so much. Why? I you son of a bitch. I didn't even think about that at first. I'm like, he did say dill. You motherfucker, you said dill. Okay. You're so proud of yourself, too. That's the worst thing about your fucking jokes is nobody likes your jokes as much as you do. I wish you could see him. His face is bright red.
I just like that it took you a second.
Because because Dill and Deal doesn't sound all that off. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm going to be like, did you say Dill? Because if you would have said no, then that was me giving you too much credit. You know what I mean?
But you gave me just the right amount.
Oh, just enough.
Because you know me well.
I do. All right, man. Go ahead and...
Scorecard it?
Yeah, go ahead and you can start us out.
So my best kill or scare, and I would almost say this one is scare.
Yeah, it is a scare.
There aren't very many really awesome kills.
They're really, aside from Ash, but
yeah,
that's the most killy that you see.
So mine is the chest buster.
Oh, that's my...
because it's so abrupt and the scream and the blood and shit. My second is the fucking cat.
Yeah, just for the sake of not doing chest bursting because that's what you picked, I will definitely put the best scare is anytime that cat gets out on its own and they try to find it and they find it in the scariest way possible.
Yeah. It's hissing at your face.
Right? Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is if I saw a cat and it was hissing, but I don't think it was looking at me directly, I might look behind me to see what's going on.
Yeah, I probably would too, and
you
should have as well.
Right.
Well, for me, I mean, that whole scene, he was chilling, he was eating a shit ton of food, and then just starts convulsing. But that initial, like you said when we were talking about
blood spurt?
The blood spurt.
And the sound effect of it, too.
And the official, burst out of this. Oh, that was brutal.
It was great. So, your next one there.
My most wanted to die was Ash.
Yeah, he was a
just
fucker.
A dick.
Yeah, same here. Because literally, he's kind of chill, cool, all that kind of stuff, but he turns into a fuck really fast.
Mm-hmm. Originally, I was thinking Parker, because
liked
all he
Parker.
cared about was getting his damn money.
But the same thing with Brett.
Yeah. It was a very close list, but Ash became a bigger dick.
Yeah, I'll go. I would say Ash hands down because he's kind of the villain.
Mm-hmm. Most wanted to live was the cat, Jonesy.
Same. I mean, you could say Ripley, but you knew she was going to live anyway.
Yeah, I knew the cat was going to live too, but it was like...
Yeah, they don't really kill off the pets too much. And so, yeah, I'll definitely go with the cat.
Grossest moment for me was Ash losing his head. That was brutal. Like, all the gross milk shit coming out, and it was all spurty and stuff.
That was pretty gross. I would have to say the grossest part for me was... Sorry.
That right there, what you just did.
No, the grossest part for me would be the chest bursting scene. I mean, not to piggyback off of your best moment, but like, yeah, that was...
It just ruins dinner for everybody.
Everything that you had said was for that reason. And so, what was your dumbest moment? I'm curious.
Dumbest was hard for me, but I eventually went to them ignoring the quarantine. It's not a stupid thing in the movie, but it's stupid of the characters to be that stupid about ignoring quarantine.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm trying to think though, because like there wasn't a lot of dumb moments, and like I said, I'm kind of winging it. I would have to say that the dumbest moment for me was the magazine rolled up in the mouth. There's so many other effective ways that you could have incapacitated her that you didn't have to
just snap her neck.
Yeah, or just hold her head down.
Yeah.
Like you're strong enough to just choke her. You could do so many other things that you don't have to hold a magazine rolled up in her mouth. It didn't make sense. And so that was the dumbest for me.
All right.
We didn't really have there was nothing really unique. I mean, you could say, what was your best cat jump scare? Or, like...
Yeah, but there was not really very many alien specific. Maybe in the sequels when there's more of them.
Yeah, there'll be multiples.
There could be some cool, like, this alien did this thing.
Right.
But with this one, so many of the kills were hidden. And so we don't have a special one for this time. We both tried and failed.
Yeah, and we're sorry. We'll skip it this time. But make sure that after you listen to this to, comment on it. Let us know what you think of the movie, what you like about it. Give us your scorecard, whatever, let us know what you think.
It's off for my pick?
Yeah.
So at the end of every episode, we alternate this every week. This was Brandon's pick. That's why he did his whole spiel at the beginning. So my next pick is actually a listener suggestion. And
we got a listener suggestion.
I know. And so before I say what it is, A, thank you for giving us a suggestion.
Right.
Random
Very
person.
much. Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. And B, if you have a movie that you want us to do, let us know.
Right.
We'll give you the contact info as soon as I'm done squawking.
Right.
But use any of the contact info we give you and let us know what movies you want us to do. And we will happily get to them at some point.
Right. And like he said, you can find us on Facebook. Just search for Pod Gore. It should pop up. It's just a page. You can like the page. I post on it almost daily.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a picture of something, something to get interactions going. You can find us on Facebook with that. You can find us on Instagram. We're on Twitter at Gore_pod. I do most of it through Twitter. And so if you're on Twitter, follow us. We don't have, that's where most of the interactions are at. I can reach more people through there. We only have 8 followers on Instagram. So we can only reach those 8 people.
Right.
And so until they grow, we'll have that. Facebook is also another one. But
and then don't we have an email?
We do. You can email us at podandgore@gmail.com.
Yeah. And that's the most universal thing. If you don't have a Facebook, because that's,
a
whatever.
lot of people don't have Facebook.
And if you don't, Twitter, because I sure as hell don't.
Yeah.
Email. Email is classic. It always works.
I can forward them to Justin.
Yeah, just shoot us an email and, we'll take a look. There's no guarantee that we'll get right to it.
Right.
Because we have movies we want to cover, but we will gladly do it as soon as humanly possible.
Right. And, if, the more interactions we have coming in, if say we get a handful of emails from people wanting to do the same movie.
It'll move up the
list. It would be okay, well, we have demand for this. We need to cover it. And so,
without further ado.
Yeah, let's hear it.
My actual movie
is,
by listener demand,
right?
Scanners.
Ooh,
Classic.
Scanners. It is classic. 1981, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Before
So,
my time.
Yeah.
I've never seen it either.
So I'm very excited about this one, exploring some new territory.
And you're gonna hear that quite a bit because as much as we love horror, like the best thing about this is seeing things that we should have seen that we've never seen.
Yeah,
or
like me with Lost Boys.
Yeah, and us with Scanners.
Yeah.
Like, or making me watch Nightmare 09. Like,
that's gonna happen eventually.
I know it will.
It's
I
gonna
saw
be like
your
a
list.
year from now, but it'll happen.
It'll happen when it happens. But yeah, guys, like we said, hit us up. I can't wait to watch and dive into Scanners.
Yeah, me too.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. But until next time, I've been Brandon.
And I've been Justin.
And we will catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.